go back to Mississippi, go back to Alabama, go back to South Carolina, go back to Georgia, go back to Louisiana, go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friend, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
My name is Melinda Lawrence. I'm the president of the Henderson County branch of the NAACP. I'm also a small business owner in Hendersonville. Also, I'm a true native of Hendersonville and not an outsider.
What we have today is a rally, as the Reverend William Barber has stated before. This is not a moment, it is a movement. And we want to keep this movement going.
Still believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will still have the final word in reality. We believe that right, temporarily defeated, is stronger than evil triumphant. And so we say together,
God of justice, have mercy.
And repeat after me, forward together, not one step back.
Forward together, not one step back.
We, the people, still believe that what self-centered people have torn down, other-centered people can build up. And so we say together, forward together, not one step back.
I tell you, my brothers and sisters, black and white and Latino and people of faith and Asian and Native American and straight and gay and all of you who are out here, it's our time for the soul and destiny of our state. It's our time to stand up. It's our time to say no to injustice. It's our time to declare there's a better way. It's our time to demand we do right by workers. It's our time to lift the poor. It's our time to protect our children. It's our time to defend voting rights. It's our time to stand up to Pharaoh. It's our time to speak truth to power. It's our time to take on Goliath. It's our time. Don't you all understand? It was too hard to get the rights we have now. It was too hard to get where we are now. Too many prayers were prayed. Too many lives were sacrificed. Too much blood was shed. Too many tears were cried. So we declare before God, to this state, and before America, when it comes to our rights ordained by God and guaranteed by the Constitution, we will never lose our faith. We will never, ever, ever, ever turn back. And that's why we're going to keep right on standing, keep right on marching, keep right on coming, keep right on gathering, keep right on praying, keep right on demanding. It would have been better, it would have been better for them to leave us alone, but we're awake now. We know what's happening now. We're on the move now. We're
make up 54% of the voting population of North Carolina. They make up 66% of voters without a valid North Carolina ID. Did you know that it could cost North Carolina $20 million to implement a comprehensive voter ID program? And finally, did you know that although millions of North Carolinians voted in the past 12 years, there has been only one case of voter impersonation fraud that occurred in the state?
I guess I am a veteran. But I believe in public schools. I believe in public schools. And that's why I am appalled at the action of this legislature and in their treatment of public education. According to our state superintendent of public instruction, June Atkinson, there will be fewer adult educators in the classroom this year, fewer now
A sane
than there
policy would be
were
to hold taxes steady or even increase them, particularly on the wealthy. Our General Assembly chose to give an enormous tax break to the rich. When a sane policy would be to expand Medicare by accepting some $9 billion in federal funds, we see Medicare sharply curtailed. When a sane policy would be to retain state workers, we see payroll slashed, particularly, as you just heard, cutting 5,000 jobs in education. When a sane policy would be to maintain unemployment benefits until employment picked up again, we see unemployment benefits cut for most and decreased for the rest of
in our state and in our country is not a black, white, red, yellow, brown, man, woman, Democrat, or Republican issue. It's a worker citizen issue. Standing up for yourselves and others. We stand here together today as one, fighting in a never-ending battle to protect our civil rights. They are just as much in jeopardy today as they were 50 years ago. Dr. King lost his physical life while helping sanitation workers in their plight for job security and benefits.
Since the election of November 2012, the North Carolina General Assembly has passed some of the most restrictive laws in the nation concerning women's reproductive health and women's voting rights. While we decry these draconian decisions, it is not enough for us to cry or complain. We must organize, we must agitate, and we must fight. We were given nothing in our struggle for equal rights. We had to fight for each and every inch we gained.
Be moved just like the tree that's planted by the water. We shall not, we shall not, we shall not be moved.
Toxic pollution instead of healthy environments. They do this to favor the wealthy elite who keep them in power through campaign contributions. This is no democracy. There can never be true equality or justice so long as only the rich and privileged sit in the room of power, making rules for those outside the rooms. The essence of self-government in a free land is this. If I tell you what my children need, you will help me provide for them. If you tell me what yours need, I will do the same. The trick is to get us all in the room.
Rich and poor together, we shall not be moved. Rich and poor together, we shall not be moved.
From this day forward, the civil rights movement and the election reform movement must join hands to sing the song of democracy together.
Like a tree that's planted by the waters, we shall not not be moved.
My thanks to those of you who walked with me here today. I hope that some of you will be able to walk with me again in Washington, where I may need a hand up those Capitol steps, and where I trust we shall enter as American brothers and sisters with the spirit of Dr. King beside us and in our hearts. Thank you.
Rich and poor together, we shall not be moved. Rich and poor together, we shall not be moved.
Like a tree
that's
planted by the waters,
we shall not be moved.
You can't see this, but this is my son Mike. He was born on my birthday in 1974. When I was pregnant with him, I had a rare virus and the doctors told me I should get an abortion. I chose not to. I chose to have him. And I never regretted that decision, even for a minute. But it was this broken healthcare system that stopped his beating heart. They call themselves pro-life, and they would deny 50 million Americans access to health care. They call themselves pro-life, and they would allow 45,000 Americans to die every year, 1 every 12 minutes, over political ideology.
On June 24th, I had the privilege of being one of 2 NAACP monitors who led those who were preparing to participate in civil disobedience into the legislative building. Directly behind us was Mrs. Rosanelle Eaton, 92-year-old civil rights veteran from Franklin County, who had marched for Dr. King. Following her were 125 more courageous folks, including 2 of them from Swain County who are standing behind me today. It was one of the most humbling experiences of my life. As I stood in the second floor stairwell of the legislative building, I realized that never in my wildest dreams would I have ever thought that I would need to be holding the door and directing my fellow North Carolina citizens on where to go to exercise their constitutional rights to petition their legislators for the redress of grievances. And yet there I was, and supporting in a small way their courageous efforts to stem the tide of the extreme scorched earth policies a regressive faction of our General Assembly has seemed intent on inflicting on our elections.
If board members know that citizens are watching, they are less likely to engage in voter repression policies like they've already started doing throughout this state. Number 5, at least once a month, write a letter to the editor and help educate others about these issues. Number 6, be prepared and vote early. Go to your Board of Elections or go to your public library, pick up a stack of voter registration application forms, carry them with you wherever you go. It's important to register voters, but it's equally important that already registered voters know the new restrictions we're facing. If you change your address, if you change your name, if you change your political party, you must submit a new voter registration application and get a new voter registration card.
Yes, we shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
let me just review a few things with you, not to repeat what they have said. It is extreme when any state, and especially for us, a southern state, when it makes it harder for anyone to vote. The problem we've had in North Carolina is getting people to vote, not having people vote too many times. It is denying access to the polls for those who are most vulnerable and most need a voice. And I would like to suggest that it is the voice and action of white patriarchy that is still trying to run our diverse land of freedom. We can do better. It is extreme to cut Medicaid for more than 500,000 people. And when it gets to be October 1st in just 5 or 6 weeks, and it's time to open those health insurance markets under the new Affordable Care Act, many people are going to learn that they are not eligible, not because of Obamacare, but because our elected leaders in North Carolina refuse to accept the federal money to help those who are hurting and vulnerable in our state. I heard a figure yesterday that just kind of blew my mind, but I was told in a meeting with hospital administrators and doctors that we'll probably have, a Harvard study has indicated, we'll probably have 2,000 people die each year because of this lack of medical care. 2,000 people. Let's talk about what's extreme. And let's compare that to the tax cut that millionaires have gotten in our state, which means they get a break of $10,000 a year, while 907,000 people, low-wage workers, will have their taxes rise because of the end of the state earned income tax credit. And let's remember that 66% of the tax cut will go to the wealthiest 1% of North Carolinians. 80% of taxpayers will get a tax increase. Let's talk about extreme. We have long been a state that I have been proud of, and we have been proud of our educational institutions, proud of our public schools. And today we're starting to pay money to private schools. This year, $10 million to private schools that have the right to be selective about who their students are. That's a $10 million that does not go to the public classroom.
One, to my right, there are booths over there for you to sign up to volunteer. Also, to get membership forms for the NAACP. Now, if you don't want to be a member of the Henderson County branch or the Buncombe County branch, you can become part of the national. Because I have a dream that one day, Jackson and Haywood County, Cherokee County will have an NAACP branch. I have a dream, and we're going to make this dream possible. So I ask that you go over there and sign up for membership. Also, I want to encourage everyone and invite you to the HK on J rally. I attended the one this year in Raleigh, where there were 17,000 people, and we marched to the state capitol.
We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall live in peace someday.
Siyahamba kukenyen kwenkos, Siyahamba kukenyen kwenkos, Siyahamba kukenyen kwenkos, Siyahamba kukenyen kwenkos, Siyahamba hamba Siyahamba hamba Siyahamba kukenyen kwenkos, Siyahamba hamba
yen cuencos. See ya humma cook and yen cuencos. See ya humma cook and yen cuencos. See ya humma, see ya humma, see ya humma cook and yen cuencos. See ya humma.